Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before. Imagine tuning into real-time discussions, expert analyses, and fan interactions all at your fingertips. Each platform offers a unique experience, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We're not just sharing stories, we're creating a community of passionate sports enthusiasts. Join us as we dive deep into the evolution of podcasting, where every episode is a chance to engage, debate, and celebrate the world of sports. This is where your voice matters and the game never stops. Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before, where sports passion meets podcasting brilliance. I'm Mike, the Bear fan, and alongside Bill, the Packer fan, and our buddy Ken Catalone, we're bringing you an incredible lineup of 38 diverse podcasters. Each one brings their unique flavor to the table, covering everything from game analysis to behind-the-scenes stories. Imagine diving deep into the minds of experts who live and breathe football, sharing insights that you won't find anywhere else.
Show up here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy Jones.
Good afternoon. It is Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. It is great to be here. We got FTP, Fred in the house, Moonscar, Blade, Jim Jackson. You know, we did pick up somebody yesterday. We picked up Anthony Pittman. So we got him back. It's a good ad. He's somebody who's familiar with the playbook already because he's been here 2.5 seasons. So I like the move. Ifeatu Melifonwu 21-day activation window has been activated. He could be playing as soon as this week, which we need him. I think we're going to use Emmanuel Mosley this week because I don't think we have much of a choice. With Dorsey going down, we know Vildor's a liability, and he hasn't been able to cover anyone outside. So I want to see the report of who they put outside tomorrow. The injuries hurt. Let's not sugarcoat it. They do. But at the same time, ever since Hutchinson went down, we have heard, oh, the Lions are going to lose. Lions are going to lose. Lions are going to lose. Out of every fan base across the whole NFL. Grace through faith. How you doing, Father? It's good. It's one of my customers at Brandon Service. Thank you for watching. But, we've been dealing with this for 8 weeks without a loss after Hutchinson. And in the 9th week, we finally had a loss. And I think it was a humbling moment for AG. And I'm going to say this for a reason. We didn't play the same as we did the last 8 weeks. We got 4 starters back and played a most vanilla defense I've ever seen. The 4-2-5, if you stay in your base defense, you're going to end up getting hurt in the run game and the passing game. Because when you're playing man that much, you tire out your corners. But at the same time, let's go over the top rated offensive and defensive in the bottom defensive and offensive guys. Because at the top, you had Sam Laporta, Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Right under that was Jared Goff. Just barely missed it. We do have the next man up here, and I want to get into that for just a minute. The bottom offensive players, the only reason why Taylor Decker isn't, excuse me, Dan Skipper, which congratulations to him. His wife gave birth last night. They have a new baby girl. So on top of getting his first touchdown after 54 games, he got his baby girl born last night. So congratulations to Dan Skipper. And let's welcome Anthony Pittman back because I think he's going to be that guy that comes in and takes over on special teams and possibly is a good rotational piece in the linebacker room for us until Anzalone comes back, which could be anywhere between now and week 18. Remember, he's been seen multiple times at the games. Jim Jackson, you're absolutely right, and I'll get into that in a minute. Our bottom offensive players, Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, Jamison Williams, because he dropped what could have been a touchdown pass, and Tim Patrick. Those were our bottom five. Skipper has as many touchdown catches this year as Deebo Samuel. I'm not saying he's a better weapon, but he's had way less targets. He's 1-for-1, 100% catch rate. Top defensive players, Amik Robertson, Carlton Davis, Aleem McNeil, David Long, and Pat O'Connor. I want to repeat those last two names again. David Long Jr. and Pat O'Connor. And I mention them for a reason. Last week, they were in the top five. In that great defensive, even though we gave up 6.6 yards per play, that was more because they were getting 20 to 30 yards burning the corner. Namely, Vildor and Dorsey. Remember, Carlton Davis didn't play that game versus the Packers. And I said we'd win without him. Bottom defensive players, Quan Alexander, Jonah Williams, Muhammad, Pascal, and Jack Campbell. Oh yeah, Tim Patrick is fine. I'm Don't get me wrong. I like Tim Patrick better than Josh Reynolds right now. The one play he had that was bad is why he's rated so low. Yep, same for Jared Goff on touchdown receptions. At the same time, same thing for Josh Allen. Same thing for Bo Nix. Those are the three quarterbacks this year that have touchdown receptions that are even with Dan Skipper and Deebo Samuel. Think about that for a minute. You remember at the beginning of the year what I said would be a respectable year for Jamison Williams, with this being close to his first full season? You realize he basically has those stats already? I said before the season, 45 plus receptions, 750 yards, 5 plus touchdowns. He has 42 receptions, 747 yards, and 5 touchdowns. If he makes 3 more catches at averaging 18.4 yards per catch, he's going to surpass 800 yards. Would you say this was a successful season for JMO with missing 2 games? I gave realistic expectations because we didn't know how good the chemistry would be between Goff and him, but we knew it was better than it has been any of his previous 2 seasons because he actually had the whole offseason to work out with Jared. And he did go to California the second time. While everybody goes, "Oh my God, why isn't he going with Jared the first time during the offseason before they even did any OTAs or anything?" Ooh, I think you got to put it Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May. Because you have to throw in the team record as well as the QB stats. I put Williams above May. That's just me. Good to see you, Pat. Hoping to see Smoking Dad in here today. I'm going to play the music anyways because I love him. The jazz is cool to me. So at the same time, it's great to see you guys here and watching. I appreciate it. Um, the rookie wide receivers. I mean, you got to put MHA MHJ, Daniels ahead of Nick. No, they the record. I disagree. I disagree. They barely beat a beat up Saints team. Oh, May does have the chance to be great. I think they need weapons. I think they need a better O line. I think they need a better coach. Um, Bo Nix is coached really well and has a great defense. I don't think we're doing either. I think I read last night in one of the pressers that they're going to be depending on Craig Reynolds and Sion Vaki more to replace the production of Monty. There's a possibility that Jameer Jefferson gets called up, but he's been dog shit. Let's not sugarcoat it. He has done nothing. He has a 1.6 yards per carry in his average in his career here. Martin didn't even get to play. Pat O'Connor is the guy that's been playing. Brent DeWitt, afternoon Lions faithful. I'm just here for the jazz music. Oh yeah, Gerard Mayo is way over his head, and giving any defensive coordinator that type of contract where it guarantees him a head coaching job if the head coach leaves, I think that was a big mistake. Um, and we're seeing, as I predicted, the Bears promoting an interim OC, the interim head coach, is a disaster. The coaching faux pas continue for the Bears. They are a dog shit coach team with what possibly could be a good roster, but nobody knows what they're doing. I know. I've been trying, Ricky. I I've looked up 9277 track music online because that's what it's labeled on my board. I don't know what it's labeled on another one. I'm gonna try all my boards out till I get one that has a name on it. Grace through faith. That is the best. Nothing about Shedeur Sanders is exciting. Um, he plays hero ball too much. He doesn't really do read and react. He does not have the head for a QB like a couple other ones. No, we ended up having to cancel because I had to work, Pat. It sucked. But I'm thinking about doing it week 18. Whatever that game is versus Minnesota. I want to do it that week. I'll post it in the community post. Do a poll if anyone wants to show up. They don't do reservations. So I suggest we get there early, like at least an hour before game time. Oh, 100%. John Dorn, that is by far your most honest comment you've ever made about the Lions. We needed the late bye week, not the early bye week. But I have talked to the bar. They are more than happy to accommodate us, and if they have to open the banquet room because we have enough people show up to watch the game with me, they will. And during any Lions games, you get 6 beers in a bucket for $20. Jim Jackson, well, I got to run, but remember again, the players need to keep the faith. Let's go, Lions. Talk to y'all tomorrow. So, Ifeatu Melifonwu was activated, according to what I read on the Detroit Lions page last night. And I think everybody missed that. He's in his 21-day activation window, which means he could play as early as this week. It may be next week. Ennis Rakestra is close. They're making the decision Wednesday whether to activate him or not. Uh, Anytime between now and week 18, we could see Anzalone back, especially since it was a clean break in his arm and they did the rod thing with the one broken bone he had. And that rod is stronger than bone. They would probably still have to wrap it up and brace it somehow, which I hope they brace it on the side that most people don't hit somebody with. I'm just saying I don't want people saying we're dirty because Anzalone has a club. I think Shador Sanders could be good if you can coach the hero ball out of him. I think Cam Ward has had more sustained success with Wazoo and now Miami because his numbers weren't bad with Wazoo, they just had a horrible team, and that's Washington State University for those that don't know, because that's where he transferred from to Miami to have a shot. And right, and Emmanuel Mosley is healthy. Let's not forget this. Emmanuel Mosley is healthy. We've been sitting him and sitting him and sitting him, and I think it's to the point where you can't sit him anymore. Now with Dorsey and Carlton Davis out. Carlton Davis is out a minimum of 6 weeks because they had to wire his jaw shut. He's going to be eating through a straw. Prayers up. You know, I lost a lot of respect for Bills fans over the last couple of days over comments made on Instagram and X and everything else, making fun of the players that got hurt on the Lions roster. It's such a dog shit thing to do. Don't make fun of people when they're hurt. I prayers up. I hope Quay Walker will be back for the Packers. I don't know the details on that, John Dorn. If you do, let us know in the chat. Yeah, miracles do never cease. First time it's John Dorn doesn't always troll. We're a good roster and we're decimated by injuries, but at the same time, I have faith that this coaching staff can do something with the players that are on this roster, plus adding Anthony Pittman. Who knows if we're done? We got another day to add somebody else, or 2 days to add somebody else before it's too late. They have to be on the roster by 4 p.m. Any practice squad signing or free agency post. And I'm going to say it now. I don't give two shits if anybody likes it or not. If I was Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, I'm calling in Dominican Sue right now. Hey, we got a chance to get to the Super Bowl. Can you come help us? I know he plays more defensive end than defensive tackle now, but that wasn't a 3-4 because he's one of those bigger guys. At 38 years old, bring him in, let him get in game shape, and have him for Minnesota. You could sign him to the practice squad and then incentivize him when you put him on the active roster in week 18. Give him huge incentives. Give him a nice bonus. Pay him for, I don't care if it's $2 million for the rest of the season. I don't care. Bring him in. Because Ndamukong Suh quit being dirty after he left the Miami Dolphins. Has he had dirty plays versus certain players? Of course. Because there's players that he hates. Just like there is all across the NFL. There's players that do stuff dirty across the NFL. But Pat O'Connor's been stepping up nice. We're going to need Broderick Martin more, and I agree with that statement that was made earlier. I can't remember who said it, but yes, I agree. It is time for him to step up. It's time for him to shine. But he's going to be the backup because Pat O'Connor has outplayed him. So as a rotational piece, as a big guy that can play, Sue doesn't have a bad attitude anymore. That's what everybody doesn't understand. He's been a team captain twice when he's been added to roster, even at midseason. Martin has had very few snaps, but he's fully healthy. He's been in a few. He was rated badly because, he got ate up in double teams, but that's what you want him to do. Pat O'Connor and who was the other backup guy that got a good grade at defensive tackle that day? Um, I think it was Chris Smith. Uh, he was taking on the double teams, which freed them up. So at the same time, he's just a big body. A big body demands a double team because one person can't stop that 330-pound massive person alone. Unless, of course, they're like Jason Kelsey, Frank Ragnow, or Kevin Zietler, and a few other right guards out there that I know are huge. And against this weak Bears O-line, it could give, because they have problems at interior O-line, it could give Martin the boost mentally in this game coming up. I would like to see him in there. And for more than 12 snaps. I don't like that when we have him active and in there, he's only getting 12 to 18 snaps a game, especially with all the injuries we have. But with Reeder there, he's going to get less snaps. I don't think Sue has a bad attitude anymore. And he's talked glowingly ever since we hired Dan Campbell. He's talked very well about how good Dan Campbell is as a coach. Dan Campbell is the one that coached the dirty out of him. And Sue was a part of a Super Bowl winning team. He was a part of that 2019 Tampa Bay roster. Everybody forgets that part. And a big reason they were in that Super Bowl, and a big reason why Pat Mahomes was sacked 9 times and they didn't score a touchdown. He was a part of the 2018 team with Jared Goff and was the only one that was trying on the defensive line because Aaron Donald disappeared. The one sack they had was Sue. Yes, but we're talking about a second year guy. We're not talking about a third year or fourth year guy where you got to label him a bust yet. There's a big difference there. He was always high. He always had that high center of gravity, which is why we didn't use him much his rookie year. And he has been playing at a better pad level than he did, and it's steadily getting lower. Why? He's been cutting weight. When you cut weight, you don't have that belly holding you up against your thigh pad. And I said this, and I already noticed compared to the way he was setting when he was set up to rush, he's 4 inches lower than he was his rookie year. But he needs to get about 3 inches lower, and then he'll be at that perfect level for his size. Just my opinion. I'm throwing it out there. But I picked up a couple of things for my background. My background's gonna change. I got a sign. God, God first, family second. Detroit football is third, with a little mural in the middle of it. I also got a neon lion sign I'm getting. I've I finally bought one. I got the Dan Campbell kneecap biting suit. It's coming in. Now, the play that changed the momentum of the game versus the Bills, and it wasn't the onside kick. It was only bad because it didn't work. I agree with the call. FTP Fred. Oh, that was great. Sorry I was late. I was at my tryouts for the Detroit Lions today, LOL. That was great. Uh, the play that swung that Kevin Weaver, how's it going? I've called down some yesterday. I think we're still in the running for the Super Bowl. 100%. This is what I'm getting at. Um, 2 of our practice squad guys that everybody was poo-pooing on yesterday, guess what? They were the top 5 defensive players, and that was with a minimum of 25 snaps. Our overall best rated player in the game was Dan Skipper, but he only played 5 snaps. He had a 91.9 rating, which was huge. 100% Kevin Weaver. And that's what I was trying to say. We still have a guy that's second in MVP voting right now. Second. I wrote in my article today that I submitted this morning. I'm waiting for it to hit print so I can post it online. And I said, Jared Goff holds 2 records that no QB should ever want in the same season. Number 1, he was the first QB ever to throw 5 interceptions and win a game. Number 2, he's the first quarterback to throw for 400 plus yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and lose. First one ever. And people keep posting all the doom and gloom stats about what this means and that means and that. All that shit goes out the window because of grit, because of this caption that is on gate A When you walk into Ford Field, it takes more fight, more heart, more grit. What's crazy? Let's go across the board. Well, there's one, there's two, there's three, there's four, there's five, 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 five of those 11 guys are on the IR right now. Yes. And I told everybody this yesterday. I have more faith in this coaching staff to be able to coach these next level players back up to a starting talent level because we've seen it already. And even though we gave up 6.6 yards per, we didn't even give up 300 yards of offense versus the Packers with this practice squad Legion of Whom defense. I'm I'm actually excited to see what the Legion of Whom defense does till Anzalone comes back week 18. I think it's week 18 we'll see Anzalone on the field. I think we might see Iffy this week, if not next week. Coach always said it was going to be hard to get back, and he never backed away from that. But yet we've already clinched the playoff. We've already clinched the playoff. Not the one seed, the playoff. We're talking about the playoffs. We swept Green Bay. I think we're going to go in there and smack Chicago right in their cocksucker. That team is quit. Caleb Williams at one point looked like on the bench he was doing an interpretive dance of Anthony Richardson when he quit on his team and the Colts lost that one game. He literally acted like he was laying down to take a nap. When you lose, you get the cob. So we're 12-2. I don't think it's strength and conditioning. I think it's the field. I think it's turf. I think, as much as I hate to say it, I think playing in a dome is a detriment to most teams. But at the same time, we're right there with the IR of the San Francisco 49ers. We're right there with the IR of quite a few teams. We have 20. There's some teams that have 23. But we got people coming back. That's the important part. This is why I'm not giving up hope. The biggest test for the Eagles is this week versus the Commanders. And the biggest test for Minnesota is Green Bay and the Lions. And there's no guarantee they win both those games. But they have the Cowboys on the road who have a winning road record, but a losing home record. It makes no goddamn sense. Yeah, but also look at the 2021 season. We've had 4 bone breaks this year, Fred. Um, and if you actually look, it was the field that got Aleem McNeil. He wasn't chipped, he wasn't touched. It was a non-contact injury. It was his ACL. I literally saw it when they slowed down the replay. You see right when it happened. He pulls up. His knee buckled right in the middle as he was trying to step on it. That that's not a strength and conditioning. I don't think there's a way to condition a player to not have an ACL other than maybe bring back 2-a-days, extend the off-season regimen so that they're practicing more. Cowboys would like nothing more than ruin the Eagles season, and Cowboys are not playing bad. Do you remember the last time the Cowboys beat the Eagles in their house? Guess who the starting quarterback was? Cooper Rush. Cooper thought while Trey Lance was hurt 2 years ago. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Can we say it right now? I think the Raiders are the worst team in the goddamn league. Panthers have showed more heart. Don Burr, they're delusional. That's 2023. I'm talking about 2021 and 2022. When we started turning this thing around, do you remember that we had 20 on the IR that year? And I still think we had around 15 last year on the IR total throughout the season. Hmm. ten, 11, 12, 13, 14. Do you realize how many players reported on the IR through 17 games last year? Last year, and I'm talking about games, snaps missed, all of that. We had 44 reported as questionable, and 36 of them played, so that's 81%. We had 6 doubtful, and none of them played. We had 50 guys out at different times throughout the year last year. The injured reserve says we had a total of 178 missed, and none of them played. So even though at the end of the year we may have had the least on the IR, that's not indicative of the entire season because we had guys that were out for 4 weeks, some guys that were out for 6 weeks, some guys that were out for 8 weeks. So, there was guys that came back at different times. We had a bunch of guys on the pup list that didn't count towards the IR too. Let's not forget this. That's what people don't understand. There's a pup list too. That's not the injury report. It doesn't go on the IR. Julian Aquara was on the IR. Matt Nelson was on the IR. Emmanuel Mosley was out the entire season. Nate Sudfeld, Shane Zylstra, Josh Pascal was on the IR for part of the season. Reynolds will suffice. I think Baki is the better running back right now. Zonovan Knight hit the IR for the season. Aleem McNeil missed 4 games. Uh, James Houston missed until week 17. Taylor Decker was out for 2 games. Frank Ragnall was out for 6 games. Yeah, we're still good at the running back position. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. And the coaching staff said that too. I don't think they're looking for anybody. Oh, I know Brent DeWitt. That's the thing. We're facing 2 bad teams back to back. Say what you want. They have a talented roster, but the 49ers are a bad team this year. I called it before the season, and it looks like it's coming true. The 49ers and the Cowboys won't make the playoffs. If the Cowboys make the playoffs, they're knocking out the 7th seed, which could be the Commanders or the Packers. And at the same time, you talking about Zonovan Knight? Yeah, he's on somebody else's roster right now. I can't remember who he went to. Uh, he plays for the Jets now, I believe. No, wait, let's see where he is. Yeah, he's on the Jets roster. Exactly. Other than to play spoiler, but I don't think they'll want to spoil the Lions. I think they'll want to spoil NFC West teams. The interior O line is is very bad for the Bears, and I have more faith that Pat O'Connor, DJ Reader, and even Jonah Wilson. I think all of them are going to have a better game next week. The whole defensive line as a whole, because if you have bad guard play, you end up with bad tackle play eventually. It says here, according to what I just read, he has been on the Jets roster all year. We cut Zonovan Knight back in August, and he was picked up off waivers by the Jets. Yep, he is on the Jets roster right now. So all we got on the practice squad, I believe, is Jameer Jefferson, not Jake Funk, because he hit the IR. And since week 4, this is Bear fans waiting for a win right now. We haven't seen him win in 8 weeks. I don't think it starts this week. Is it going to be a tough game? Hell yeah, it's outside on the road. But I'm not scared anymore of outside on the road like we used to be. And I don't understand how Jack Campbell got put on the bottom 5 by PFF because he statistically was our second best tackler. Amik Robertson was the best tackler. Brian Branch was in there. Um, I don't go into the deep dive of the breakdown. Long as not this coming weekend. Well, amen. Just remember, there was only 4 teams that did not win a game in November. Shall I show them again? No win November. New York Giants, Chicago Bears, Jacksonville Jaguars, Raiders. Jacksonville Jaguars is the only one off that list in December. Pretty much. Because now we have to play every game like a playoff game. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we want the 1 seed. Every game is a one and done situation. We lose a game and the other teams don't, guess what? We're behind them in the seeding. We could drop from 1st to 5th like that. Much I hate to say it, we have to beat Commanders and Saints fans this weekend as Lions fans. I think Minnesota beats the Saints. I think they're awful. Interim head coach Derek Carr might play. He's listed as questionable already this week. Because let's face it, Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner were awful last week for the Saints, but yet they almost won the game. But instead of kicking and going for the tie on the road, they went for 2 points and lost. Big mistake. I'd have went to tie, went to overtime, and put it in the ref's hands with the coin flip. Because whoever got the coin flip was winning that game the way they were going at the end of the game. Hutchinson said he's doing his best to work out with his recovery team, not overdoing it to be back. I know, Kevin. What if we're not 3? Right. One of us is going to have 3 losses. One of us is going to have 2. That's what it's coming down to. You know what? Here's the crazy thing. What if we all end up 14-3 somehow? You know who gets the 1 seed then? Still the Lions. And it's crazy to think that 14-3 is not out of the question. It's crazy to think that 15-2 is not out of the question. As long as we play as hard as we have the entire time. I think this loss goes more on AG than anything for one reason. We stayed in our base defense the entire time. We've been mixing up our formations all year, and we didn't. We went from a team that was at a 44% blitz rate throughout the year, and we blitzed less than 15%. We acted like we had Aiden Hutchinson out on the field. We didn't stunt our defensive line at all to expose the guards. We didn't send 6 ever. The most we rushed was 5. And I just think that was insane. We needed a containment blitz. We tried it, but every time we started to get close, whoever got close, whether on the left side or right side, they spun to the inside and was chipped by a guard, and Josh Allen was able to roll out. And delivered today. Nice. Like, I I said there was a possibility we could be that, but I didn't see it. I literally saw us with 3 losses by Thanksgiving, and not the Thanksgiving game. I said we'd beat the Bears. As a matter of fact, I almost guaranteed. He hasn't tweaked anything during warm-up. They just sat him healthy. He's been a full participant every week, Brent DeWitt. I don't get what's going on with the Mosley stuff, why they just keep sitting him. I think they've been sitting him for this situation when we had to have him. Other than that, it doesn't make sense to me. Why are you going to give a guy a 1-year, $3.9 million contract to ride the pine? He's been active for 4 straight weeks and hasn't started in any of these games. He's been a healthy scratch every week, and it doesn't make sense. So technically, his salary is cut in half then, which is why our everybody keeps wondering how our cap keeps going up. When you're on IR, you only get half your money. He still gets a full game check if he's on the inactive list as a healthy participant. He gets his full game check that week. Is Broderick Martin that good? He has the potential to be. He has a very high upside. Um, he started out as a defensive end slash defensive tackle for North Alabama State, which his first 2 years in limited snaps had like 7.5 sacks, mostly from the defensive end position. The problem is he got so big he had to be made in those tackles. We didn't give up that much to give him. We got a sixth back. We gave up a fifth and a seventh to move up to 4, to move up into the compensatory picks. Pick 96, I believe it was. No, it was 99 because 96 was Jake Moody, who coincidentally in his rookie year missed more field goals than Jake Bates has this year. Yeah, we moved up in the draft, but we got a sixth back in compensation, is what I'm saying. We literally only gave up one draft pick. We gave up one draft pick to move up. I think it was almost 50 spots from where we were picking when we picked them last season. Don't forget, we gave up a lot to move up for a lot of people in that draft. We made 8 draft trades that year, the most of any team out there. We made 6 this year. I think that was second most. Yes, but his first 2 years of college was North Alabama State Community College, Brent DeWitt. He was only with Western Kentucky the one season as a nose tackle in a 3-4 defense. He originally started in a 4-3 defense as a defensive end slash defensive tackle. Yeah, I know, Kevin Weaver. And you want to know what's bad about it? Guess who pushed the ball back into the scrum so that the cornerback could get it instead of just grabbing onto it with his hands because the ball was loose between Jake Bates' legs and none of their guys could get to it. David Long, when he dove in there, his knee slid and pushed the ball back into that cornerback underneath Jake Bates. I find that insane. Okay, let's see what we got for the report. The Lions are signing former Carolina Panthers and Birmingham Stallions DB Stanley Thomas Oliver. So we just signed another defensive back. Game of inches, 100%. Do you guys realize how close that was? The Mac Hollins onside kick that failed? How close it was to being successful? Did you listen to Dan Campbell talk about it? Because, of course, he gave the clown answer. Well, in hindsight, yeah, it was a bad decision. Isn't that what he says about all of them? Oh, yeah. Dalton Kincaid is a great tight end. Don't don't get it twisted. He's one of the best in the game. He's one of the top 10 tight ends. I still think the play that swung that game to the Bills' favor was the fumble by Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was a first down converted on third down that turned into a fumble. Sorry, not sorry. We went from having the ball on the 32 to giving it up on the 24. It sucked. That was the difference in this game. If that doesn't happen, Dan Campbell doesn't go for the onside kick. And we're talking about a 1-point game then. Yep, but they won the turnover battle. If we didn't turn the ball over, it's a different ball game. We were only down by 7 points at that point. Everybody forgets this. There was a lot of things that went wrong. It was a 7-point game at that point, and it started moving quick after that. because then we had another 3 and out, and they scored another touchdown or a field goal, excuse me. Yeah, and you know what? I don't care. I don't want excuses. To me, that sounded like an excuse for him to have the drops he had. He had 3 key drops and a fumble. Yes, it started at the 4. It started at the 4, and we got 2 first downs to get it out to the 24. I think the pass went to the 34 to get the first down, maybe the 35, and it wasn't even punched out. Amon-Ra punched it out on himself. When he was trying to transition it, he hit it on his own leg. The guy's arm wasn't in the way. So it was a clear fumble. He had 3 steps with possession of the ball, but he lost it in the transition as he was bringing it down. And it sucks. But that was the swing play of the game. Trust me, I hate losing knuckles. It sucks, dude. But we preached it all year. Next man up. We are that team. We have been resilient. We have shown grit. Let's do it again. There's a reason why Vegas still has us as a 6.5 point favorite at this time after the news about Monty. Do you know what it was before Monty was announced that he was out for the season on Monday? It was an 8.5 point spread. So they lowered it by 2 because we're on the road and we lost Monty. But let's not forget how strong Sion Vaki. I know that too. That was a self-inflicted fumble is my point, Kevin Weaver. It wasn't punched out. And there was a penalty on that play that gave him an extra 15 yards. Yes, absolutely. That was the most swing play of the game. I just I don't understand how people don't realize how much that play affected the game. That was the momentum shift for the second half because it started out like we had been. And it hurt more than everybody realizes. So I'm not as mad at going for the onside kick at 12 minutes left, being down 10 as everybody else. I'm more upset with the defender that was in front of Matt Collins when he tipped the ball. Yeah, that's how much we were favored. And we're still considered the second best on most betting sites. Matter of fact, let me look one up now. I'll go look at BetMGM. I just want to see what the odds to win the Super Bowl is right now. I want to see if it's still negative or if it went to positive on it. 'Cause that'll tell us everything. Not showing it. Hmm. Hello, Ralph Williams. Sorry the Steelers couldn't pull it off versus Philly last night. Russell Wilson gets his first loss as a quarterback. I wasn't and still not mad about it. Live by the sword, die by the sword. DC is aggressive, and that's one thing I love about his coaching. I've watched too many years of non aggression and lose. Yes. So the Chiefs have clinched their division, but they have not clinched the playoffs yet, the one seed yet. The Bills are still in striking distance in the news of Mahomes having a high ankle sprain. I'm not talking about as a Steeler. I'm talking about versus the Eagles as a quarterback there, Ralph. This was the first team that Russell Wilson has been with that he's lost to the Eagles. He's faced them 4 times. 3 times as a Seahawk, 1 time as a Bronco, and now the Steelers. So he's 4-1 alone in wins and losses versus the Eagles as a stat. I'm talking about as a quarterback, not a team. Well, I don't do bad officiating, so it's plus money. So it went from negative 275 to plus 425. Put your bet in. Uh, I understand that, Brent DeWitt, but I'm saying the onside kick isn't the reason we lost. The fumble is. That fumble and the fact that our defense couldn't stop a cold. We forced a turnover on downs on fourth down. We forced one punt and a missed field goal. Oh, wait, the missed field goal was the turnover on down. Sorry. They had 12 offensive possessions. We had 11. The fumble was the biggest one because they were still getting the ball, whether we kicked it off or onside kicked it. It was horrible execution that allowed them to get to the 4-yard line. But it ended up being 9 seconds off the clock instead of a 3 to 6 minute drive, is my point. You take 3 to 6 minutes off that clock, and the Lions might have lost by 10, and we'd be getting clowned for getting blown out. So I love my Lions. I'm trying to remain as real as I can about it. I think we got a good shot to still go there because we got some guys that could be coming back healthy. Comiskey might be back by week 18. Is another report I saw. Yep, 100%. That's why Pascal is our fifth worst. Isn't that crazy that you'll make more money betting on the Chiefs this year than you will the Lions, Bills, or Philly? Think about that for a minute. Think about that ROI, return on investment. Plus 600 is 60 to 1 odds. That means for every dollar you get 60. Yeah, Mahomes has a high ankle sprain that was confirmed yesterday. I know, Michael Marsh, because it's Chicago. It's another week where Caleb gets the Cobb. Oh, great. Now that we got so many people hurt, the whole J.J. Watt rumors are starting up again. It'd be great. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think he wants to come back to football. But man, I've been talking for an hour. Didn't even realize it. The time has passed so well. It's time for me to give homage to my sponsor. Say what you want. Until somebody knocks us off of it, that's where we're at. Brandon Service at the corner of South Grand Travis, 602 West Atherton Road in Flint, where the water's shit, but the tires are good. Stop in and check us out. Used tires starting at $45 and up. New tires, call to get your quote because they will be delivered within 1 to 2 business days. It is 810-233-8230. Talk to George, Red, or myself. Mention this ad, you get $25 off a new set when you buy them, $10 off a used set. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. And as always, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before, because that's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Much love, everybody.